Remember, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button so you don't miss any new episodes. Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly. Welcome to another episode of the Nothing to Something podcast, where I touch on different things, different areas of life, on how you could go from a nothing place to a something place. And what we're touching on today is enablers. Now, there's two sides on being an enabler, right? There's the positive notation of it, which it's a person or thing that encourages something possibly, right? But then there's the negative side, which most people usually know of, the negative notation of it, which is a person who enables negative or self-destructive behavior. And I'm going to kind of touch on both sides of it. You know, I'm not a professional, but I do give my personal experiences and my outlook on these different topics on how you could go from a nothing place to a something place, right? Now, understand that there are two sides of it. So let's look into some of the ways that it can differentiate. Now, some of the ways is, do you, right? If you're the person that's being enabled, do you flat out just go ahead and be an enabler? Like, you can know that you have this quality in you. You can know that that's something that you actually enjoy, being able for people to rely on you, right? Do you just flat out do it? Like, you know that about you? Do you accept that that's who you are? Or is it just a situation where you like, I don't even know that I'm doing this. I don't have a negative notation behind me. So it also comes to the matter of like settling, right? If you're a person that is getting enabled, right? You usually have the tendency of settling and letting the other person guide you, right? And it could be things that you don't necessarily want to do. Okay, so if you're a person that is the enabler, or if you're the person that is being enabled, understand that there's two sides to it. Because on the positive side, you can be trying to encourage, you can be trying to motivate. You really genuinely are trying to help, right? And you could also just really want the help, right? If you're the person that's getting enabled, you really could just want the help. You really appreciate it. You really value it. But then on the flip side of it, if you're the enabler and it's coming from a negative place, then you're looking to get some type of gain for yourself. It actually doesn't help the other person. So if you have a situation where there's a person that's actually trying to do something that is actually good for them, right? But it's not necessarily good for you. So they're making a move in a certain direction to do something either to better them in some type of way, but it actually would hurt you because you actually are relying on them in some type of way. Now, that has a lot to do with co-independency, right? So that's where it kind of, it juggles a little from back and forth. When you are in that type of relationship with a person, and I don't mean in a sexual way. It can be a friendship relationship, right? It can be a family relationship. It can be a spiritual relationship. It doesn't matter what the terms or the condition of the relationship is. You can still be an enabler, and then you can be codependent, right? But again, there are two sides to it. So what I am helping you to understand is, how can you stop these tendencies? How can you stop this behavior if you really want to? You know, one of the first things that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to accept that it is happening. You know, one of the things that most people fail to realize is when they want some type of change to happen, they don't accept that there is something actually happening, but they want something different to happen, right? So how can you get something different to happen if you continue to do the same things? But why do you continue to do the same things? Because you haven't accepted the terms and conditions of where it is. So that's something that you have to do. You have to really evaluate the conditions of the relationship, the conditions of where you stand in the relationship, the part that you play, right? No matter what side of it that you're actually on. So once you accept that, then you can do the self-evaluation, right? And you can go and do the research or the work, right? And start to really target or address the issue. You know, figuring out why you're that way. You know, why you either enable people or why you're co-independent. You know, so once you check mark that off, right? And understand that that's not an easy thing to do. It's relatively easy to talk about, right? But it can be a difficult thing to do, to accept, because acceptance can still be difficult. I'm going to say that one more time. Acceptance can still be difficult. Like, you may accept that the terms of something is the way they are, but you don't want them to be that way. You know, you have to understand that in order for things to go in a different course or a different direction, you have to start changing how you view it. You have to start changing how you think, right? And that is one of the things that you're going to have to do to go from a nothing place to a something place. Now, something else that you're going to have to understand, right, is know that it's going to be either hard or frustrating. It is going to be either hard or frustrating. And the reason that is because guess what? You are doing something out of the normal, right? You're doing something that actually goes against the grain, so to say. You know, because for who knows how long you've been this way. Who knows how long you've been having this type of behavior. So it's going to be difficult. But understand that just because you are making changes with you, that doesn't mean that other people are ready to make these changes also. So, but know that the relationship and the terms and the conditions that they are with other people while you are changing, it's going to change for other people also. It's not a matter of, oh, I'm changing and everything is just going to be so sweet because I'm changing, right? No, other people are going to be affected in some type of way. So that can be frustrating, not just for you, but also the other people. It can be difficult for them to accept that things are changing. It can be difficult for them to accept the terms and conditions are not what they used to be, right? Sometimes we get settled and we get comfortable with how things are so much that we can't see it changing, and we may not even want it to change, right? But doing this is going to help you to take ownership. That's another reason why it's going to be difficult, right? It's going to help you to realize the part that you play. It's going to help you reclaim your power, right? So if you reclaim your power, then what does that mean? That means that you're taking your power away from something or someone. And that is very, very frustrating. Now, here's the third thing. A third thing is, guess what? Loved ones, right? People that love you, they may get mad. They may come at you in some type of way. Why? Because you are changing the terms and conditions of where the relationship stands. And they may not want you to change it. They may be the person that's actually enabling you, actually doing it in a negative notation, and they may not even want to do it in a negative way. For example, you may be trying to exercise and lose weight or get healthier, and they may just be like, oh, I'm getting something to eat. You want something? And offer you some food that don't help you to reach your goal. Look, there wasn't no negative notation behind it. They were just actually looking out, but they're not being mindful of your goals that you have for you. They're not being mindful of the vision that you actually have for yourself. Something that you're trying to reach. That's your goal. That ain't theirs. So you actually can't get too upset with them, because that is something that you want. It's not necessarily something that they want. It's no different when two people break up, right? It's usually not a mutual thing. It's not something that both parties usually want. It's usually one person wants it and the other person doesn't. So it's going to be difficult and hard for somebody in that situation. But here's the thing. If you accept that that is going to happen, that is a possibility, that loved ones may attack you in some type of way, you know, oh, you changing, oh, you acting funny, oh, why you gotta be like that? And you like, yo, I would have thought, because I'm trying to do something better for myself, that you would actually be applauding me. So you might actually start attacking their character. And it may not have nothing to do with that. They just may be having a hard time accepting that things are changing. Again, acceptance is difficult still. So don't get too mad at them, right? Don't get too upset with them. Just understand that that is something that possibly may happen. It may not happen, right? I'm just telling you how to go from a nothing place to a something place with dealing with being an enabler, right? Or being enabled. So realize the part that you play in your relationship. That's step 4. You have to realize the part that you play in this relationship. Are you the enabler? Are you the one being enabled? Ask yourself that. Like, literally ask yourself, what part do I play in this situation? Because it's so easy to point the blame at somebody else. It's so easy to be like, oh no, it's because of them. I didn't reach my goal because of what they did. I had a vision for myself, and because of what they was doing, I didn't meet my mark. I didn't reach my goal. Nope. Accept the part that you play. You're either the one being enabled or you're the enabler. That's what it is. But once you actually accept that, then you can actually look at the roles, and then you can start doing the work that you need to do, and actually to stop playing that part. Because remember, you're trying to change this. This is something that you're trying to stop doing. You're trying to either stop being the enabler, or you're trying to stop being enabled. And again, right now, and I'm talking about all the negative notations of it. Obviously, if it's all on the positive side, look, I applaud it. I welcome it. But on the negative side of this, if that's what you're trying to do, these are just some of the steps that you could actually take. And here's another thing. Step 5. Don't feel bad. Seriously, don't feel bad. Like, if there was no negative intent behind it, if there was no negative notation behind it, if you were truly, strictly being an enabler, and you was trying to help a person, you was trying to encourage a person, but the thing about it is you put that weight on your shoulder. You actually made it like, oh, well, they're not going to be able to get there unless I get them there. Unless I actually take them, like I hold them by the hand, I put them on my shoulders, and I be the one to be like, all right, nope, you got it. You got to eat this right. Up. Nope. You got to do these exercises. Up. Nope. You got to take this herbal stuff. Oh, nope. You got to take these supplements. Oh, no. You know what? Apply for this job. Oh, listen, you might be an enabler on a negative side. Don't feel bad if that's the part that you play in the relationship. But understand that it's not healthy. That's what I'm trying to get you to realize. Being an enabler and being in a codependent relationship is not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for them. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. The reason why is because you don't actually give the person the tools on how to use this stuff, on how to do this stuff. You're actually giving them the tools, but you like, I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to give you an example. How often, as a kid, I used to remember, getting help with homework and things like that. And my mom or my sister, helping me with homework, and, they get frustrated because I ain't getting it, right? So what do? I got the pencil in my hand, but they like, oh no, here you go. This the answer. That ain't helping me. That don't help me. I don't know how to do it still. So again, being an enabler and being enabled, that's not healthy. You might have all the positive things. You want something good for them, and you want things to go well for them. That's all fine and dandy, right? But what's going to happen when they get there? They're going to be at this place, but they ain't going to know how to maintain it. They ain't going to know how to keep up with it, because they were so used to you actually holding their hand. They were so used to you putting them on your back and saying, all right, come on, let's go. Let's go. I got this. You do this. You do this. I'm going to take whatever problems you have, and I'm going to take them on, and then I'm going to give you the formula, and I'm going to give you the answer, and I'm going to hand it to you. Listen, if you cooked a full course meal and you gave it to a person every single day, guess what? When you are removed from the situation, they are not going to know how to cook. Why? Because you were so used to doing it for them, and they were so used to you doing it for them. Now, I ain't saying that there's anything wrong with it, but what I'm saying is, why not show them along the way? That way, when you are removed out of the situation for whatever reason, right? And I'm not saying that y'all have a falling out or something like that, but things can happen. In our life, things happen, right? Unforeseen situations happen to all of us. So if you remove from it, then what's going to happen to them? They ain't going to know how to maintain it. and then they're going to be stuck. They're going to be stuck. So understand, help that person to know how to maintain it. Help them to know how to do it. You know, there's that saying, you know, you can teach a person how to fish and they'll be able to fish for the rest of their life. Or you can actually go and fish for the person and feed them that one time. It go kind of something like that, right? you know, I think it's like you can feed a person for a lifetime by teaching them how to fish. That's kind of how it go, right? You know, so, but that's what I'm trying to say. I'm really trying to say that, you know, if you don't understand the terms and the conditions that you play in the relationship, it's not going to be healthy for you or for them. Because guess what? Say they are removed. If you are the person that's being the enabler, remove them from the situation. You have nobody to help anymore. Where is your joy and your happiness going to come in at now? You're going to be sad. You're going to be like, man, I really just, you don't have I was getting all my joy out of doing this for people and doing that for people. And who does that usually happen to? That usually happens to people with kids. And listen, I have kids and I know how I understand it. I can relate, right? And I am a child, right, of somebody. So I understand people with kids, they tend to be so in the habit of doing for the kid, doing for the kid, doing for the kid. I got to do this for my kid. I got to do that for my kid. And I ain't saying when the kid is young, yes, you have to do things for them. And as they get older, you're supposed to gradually and slowly do less and less for them and start showing them how to do it. You have to. How are your kids going to know how to do certain things in life if they were so used to you doing it for them? I'll give you an example. If my child always needed her shoes tied and I never actually taught her how to tie her shoes, what's going to happen when I get removed from the situation? She ain't going to know how to tie her shoes. If nobody never taught her, all she's going to know is how to get somebody to do it. And that's what an enabler does. Enabler does things for people so long that they don't show the other person either how to do it or they don't allow them to do it. Because sometimes people just be like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to try. Like, help me to figure it out. And I'm going to try to, get it. So I can remember as my daughter was getting a little older, my mother used to, and out of all love, my mom used to be like, hey, just give me the money and I'll go buy her some clothes. And I could have just been like, here you go, boom. And my daughter would have been fly and fresh, right? But I decided to go in a different direction. I said, no, that's okay. I'll actually go to the store and I'll buy her clothes. And it wasn't that I didn't value or appreciate my mother's help or anything like that, but I wanted to actually learn how to dress my child to look fly and fresh the same way that my mom would do it, right? So as I was doing that, I would go to the stores and I would ask tips. And look, I would even ask my mom, like, hey, how does this look? How does that look? Should it look like this or should it? That way I can get an idea. That way, if she removed from the situation, boom, I actually know how to do it. So you have to know the role that you play. And in order for you to go from a nothing to something place in this category of being an enabler or being enabled, you have to decide that you either want to learn for yourself or you want to pull back. Because if you're the enabler, you need to pull back. And if you're the one that's being enabled, you need to move forward more. Those are the things that you actually need to start doing, because if you don't, you're going to continue to be in an unhealthy relationship. Again, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, right? Whether it's relationship with a spouse, it's a relationship with your parents, it's a relationship with your friends, it's a relationship with your children, it's a relationship with your coworkers. It doesn't matter. That goes in every category of life. Financially, look, if you're an enabler, like, you gotta just start helping people to see how to actually do it for themselves and allow them to do it. Stopping being an enabler means that you actually have to stop doing it. You gotta slow down. You gotta be like, all right, look, this is what I did. You gotta do the rest. Look at the animal kingdom. Look at birds. Birds go out and they go, when they eggs hatch, they go and get the food, they chew the food up, they put it in the animal's mouth and everything, right? But then when they get to a certain point, the animal have to go out and fly and do it for themselves. That's what they have to do. They fly, boom. But then they push the kids out of the nest. And the kid, in the midst of flying, they start flapping their wings, right? Survival mode kicks in. So the person that's being the enabler, you have to allow survival mode to kick in for that other person so they can figure out how they can take what you have taught them or take what you have did for them, and then they, right, can make it their own and do it for themselves. And if you're the enabler, you have to not just look at what people are doing for you, you have to see how you can do that for yourself. Because now, if you are looking at how what people are doing for you, you're actually watching, right? You are saying, okay, I see what they're doing. And now, after they are done, I see them do it so much, I know how to do it. Now, obviously, you're going to have some trial and error, right? But you are learning while you're watching, even though they're not teaching you. That's the key. Learn even though they're not teaching you. You know, so are you going to just be like, all right, well, they doing it for me, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't need to know how to do that. You're going to continue to be the person that's enabled. And when you get put in a situation, it's going to be expected of you to know how to do it, because if you have a job and you are so used to other people doing your job for you, when those people are removed and you're still in that position, people are going to expect you to know how to do it. But if you don't know how, they're going to say, how did you maintain this position if you don't know how to carry out the task? And what you're going to say, oh, I was so used to somebody else doing it. Guess what? You get replaced like that. So that's what you have to do. You have to, one, accept what is happening. Either you are the enabler or you're being enabled, right? Two, you have to take ownership, right? And say that this is going to be difficult. It's either going to be difficult to stop being the enabler, or it's going to be difficult to stop being enabled. Three, realize that loved ones may have a hard time accepting the terms and conditions that things will be now, because it's changing. You're either not being the enabler anymore, or you're not being enabled anymore. Four, realize the part that you play in the relationship, and understanding why, right? And understanding that it's not healthy. The relationship is not healthy if you're the enabler, and it's not healthy if you're being enabled. And then 5, don't feel bad if your intent was good. If your intent was solely good and you're the enabler, you like, I really just want to help them and I want them to get, have the best life that they can possibly have. I want them to be in the best situation that they can possibly be in. But guess what? That's what you want for them. That may not be what they want for themselves. So don't feel bad for actually scaling back. And then if you're the enabler, and then if you're the one being enabled, right? Don't feel bad that you allow other people to do so much for you. You allow people to take on roles that they didn't have to. And you allowed it to continue for so long. Like, don't feel bad, because guess what? Everybody needs a little help, right? And everybody deserves help, no matter what. So remember, you are great, and to continue to be great. So now I'm going to give you my crazy moment, right? One of my crazy moments is my family, we go out to this play, right? We go to this play, probably like an hour and a half away from us. And when we go to this play, a real nice play and things like that, I think we leave, we go to a restaurant. And after we leave the restaurant, we're on our way home. I'm like, all right, we're driving. And as we're driving past like this cornfield. And it was just like, it was dark. It was just like something from a movie. And this guy walks out from out of the cornfield, no lie. And I'm talking, this dude was tall. He had on had the jumpsuit on with the shirt. And my wife like, yo, what is he doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And he kind of started walking out in the street. And listen, I was like, yo, I don't know what's going on. I took off. I was like, yo, you is not about to get us. I don't care. It's not going down that way. Look, I don't know what was about to happen, but I wasn't about to find out. Like, I wasn't playing. And it was just so crazy because, you don't see things like that. Now, maybe for people that live in that area, that's very common. But for me, I don't live in an area like that. So to see something like that, I was just like, yo, what? It looked like some suspicious activity about to go on. And I don't want no parts of it. So that was my crazy moment, that I had. Guy walking out from the cornfields in the dark. Like, he just popped up. And it wasn't like, we kind of seen something moving. It was just like, it was nobody there. And then boom, he was there. So it startled us. Well, I'm going to say it startled me. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was out, so that was my crazy moment. So remember, go be great. You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control of how you feel. So control your feelings.